Activating meridians. Alignment. Instability in field. Negative. Charge. Aligning matrix field. Positive. Coordinates reached, Commander.
Activate the Sade field.
Activations of multidimensional engines.
Launch communications probe.
Power levels to maximum.
Activate all dimensional levels of communication.
Communication established.
The voice you hear.
Hello, hello.
Just hang on a minute, mate.
As Bob.
Yes, that's true.
Bob.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our destination.
Hello, Bob.
This is the last slave planet.
Just mute your microphone until the intro's finished, please.
Will do, bro.
Under all agreement, under all rights, under galactic law, we now proclaim this planet free. The descension of the true human consciousness has begun.
Energizing Shambhala diamonds.
The men, women, and children of this planet are now set free.
Bring fields activated.
You have already reached
Activate Shambhala diamond.
critical mass.
Integration onto microcosm. Expanding linear space.
Prepare for landing. Prepare for landing. Prepare for landing.
Free space activation. Landing. Caution. All crew members to station. This is the Starship Bob. We are landing.
Well, that's, oh, stop that. Come on now. I just said I was going to do that. Stop. There we go. Right, I hope you can hear me out there. I hope we got good audio and it's all working. I've got my little mate Robo Hippie sat in the room nodding his head at me. That's good news. We managed to do a changeover without any glitches, I do believe. Right, just a minute. I've got another option here. To the conference call. Right, if you are there actually on the call with us live, just mute your microphone for me, and we'll get you in as soon as you can. I've got Dom with me in the room. Say a quick hello, Dom.
Quick hello, Dom.
There you go. So Dom's here with me, and Robo Hippie is also with me, but he's sat in the corner with pink headphones on and a rainbow jumper. I hope to get the girls in later, so if you are out there and you're one of the fairer sex, as they are known, I'm dubious to that matter, as my position as an honorary woman. So yeah, if you are of the fairer sex, then we kind of turn over the last hour or so, if we can, to those issues that might be out there on that side of the field, because that's all it is, isn't it? We're all playing the same game when it all boils down to it. Right, Simon, who was absolutely brilliant. I was kind of a bit dubious about what I'd seen about the guy. I hope you're listening, Simon. I hope you can hear me now, because bang on, man. I could chat with you for days and days. Really could, man. Right into it. One thing I wanted to ask you, androgynous beings, twin souls, androgynous beings, and fear core matrices. Perhaps you people out there who have had a few of these experiences may look at a meditation by a good mate of mine, somebody I've known for years, also who had experiences at a very early age, a guy called John Armitage, on the City website. Okay, so you can go either way you want, through Bob's Backyard or through Darkcity. But once you're on that website, just click on the stuff page, and then there's albums, and click on the albums, and you'll see in there's a meditation by John Armitage. Anyway, it's all free. It's free. All right, that's what it's all about, getting stuff out there. Now, to a lot of people, that will work. To some people, it'll be like, what's this? I've just fell asleep for 25 minutes. That is absolutely excellent. Just a minute, we've got somebody else joining us on the line. So, there we go. If you have just joined us, please mute your microphone. I'll tell you I've got with us, because we'll get into this. I think there's quite a few people out there want to ask a few questions, put your point of view across. It can be about what's come up in Dom's show, but it doesn't have to be. Okay? This is what this section of Dark City Radio is about, the Dark City Show. It's about bringing you up here, meeting other people like you, or not, as the case may be, and us working together on common ground. There you go. Free men and women of the world having their say. So, first person I brought in is one of the crew. In fact, I'll just go round them, right? I'll just go round y'all. I've got a real good mate of mine, goes under the name of the False Idol. I'm saying a good mate. We've never actually met, and we only live about 15 miles apart. But we've been bumping across one another for quite a while now. We've got commonly known as... I can't see the rest of your name on my Skype at the moment. But welcome to you. We've got Joel down there, Blacker, and we've got Prajna. Prajna, right. Did I get it right, Prajna? Did I get that right? Did I?
Yeah, you did. And you not only got me, but you got Carl here as well. And Dale is hiding in the corner and threatening to run away. But, yeah.
Right, that's cool. Right, well, we'll just spin it round and let's see who we've actually got there. Joel, are you there, Joel?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, all right, Joel. Right, brilliant. Your audio's nice and loud. That's all right. Commonly known as Craig. Is it Craig? Right. Commonly known as Craig. Are you there? You have to unmute your microphone to speak now. Right, okay, we haven't got anything. If you do get that sorted, just speak up whenever you're ready. Craig, I thought it might have been you coming in or somebody else.
Did you come in and fight in? I think it's me.
No, he just rang in. He's just rung in the show, so he might just want to listen. And the False Idol, are you there with us, the False Idol?
Yeah, I'm here, wherever here may be.
Well, here is our little internet radio server. So yeah, wherever it may be. But for tonight, for a couple of hours, this is where we are. Well, who wants to kick it off? Have you got something you want to throw in? Have you got something you want to ask? Have you got something you want to say?
Norman Scarf?
No.
Yeah, that is a good one, actually, because Bob mentioned Norman Scarf before. He said, do you know Norman Scarf is? And I said, I ain't got a clue because I can't remember names. And then Bob forgot who he was. So go on, Bob, give us a rundown.
Oh well, I've got to be honest, man. It was Dom who started talking to me about Norman Scarf, and I'm like, Norman Scarf, who's Norman Scarf? Blah, 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 and he speaks a little bit. All right, well, he's down with the guy I went to his court hearing, Roger Ayres. Yeah, he was down with Roger Ayres and the Lawful Rebellion. Well, you know me, man. I'm like, hey, I know people who are involved with Lawful Rebellion. I'll go and ask them. So that's why I appear. That's why I appear going, right, what's the news on Norman Scarf?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Anybody know?
So yeah, if there is anybody out there listening, and there is quite a lot, yeah, and I've looked, in excess of 60 people in the middle of Dom's show. Yeah. We got there 50 now.
Norman Scarf was in the High Court. It's either today. Yeah, it was today, and I'm not too sure what exactly happened.
So yeah, if anybody is out there and they have got information on Norman, or anybody's got Roger Ayres' mobile phone, will you tell him to pull his finger out of his backside over Aston Alarm action and show us some respect, show us some respect here in the north. So yeah, don't know a lot, man, don't know a lot. But hey, we put the call out there, so maybe something will materialise in chat, perhaps, or. On one of the Facebooks. Ooh, have we just lost Prajna? No, he'll reconnect and sort it out. So, Joel, you're new, mate. Are you new, mate? You're new. Well, not new, but you're new to us, Joel.
Sure am.
Hey, have you got something you want to throw in here, man, onto the Dark City chat line? That's what it is, really.
Well, I just checked out, Bradford City football. Like that football team that's doing better than they should. You know what I mean? They've just done something incredible, and they're all really happy about it.
Right, well, I don't really follow football. I can't really say that I do. But, hey, you do. So tell us, man. Tell us.
Do you know Dynamo, the magician?
Dynamo? Yes, I have heard of Dynamo, the magician. I don't have television, Joel, so you have to excuse me and stuff like that.
He's a very talented young man.
I have seen a few clips on YouTube of him, yes.
He was initiated into the inner circle. Got given the highest reward. I found this is a funny fact that Prince Philip, Prince Charles is in the inner circle.
Yeah.
Is that hilarious?
Was it who was the guy who did Sooty and Sweet? Corbett? He called Corbett. He was in the inner circle as well. Yeah, the guy who revealed some of it, didn't he? And then had a mysterious plane crash. So I know a little bit about the inner circle of what's known as the magicians. Go on, break us the story, Joel. I'm sure it's like you've got something there. You're dying to tell us.
Oh, I just saw it on Facebook just then. I was like, whoa. I just kind of squealed a bit. And then, because I'm really interested in him. He's very talented. A lot of people just kind of like, it's all smokes and mirrors. Not all of it. They're keeping it secret for a reason.
Yeah, he has revealed quite a lot of stuff. I mean, I wouldn't say he's actually a magician and what people consider. It's a good point. What is magic and what is illusion? What is creation and what is manipulation? There seems to be what appears to be a very fine line, which when you start to look at it, becomes a huge gaping chasm. What is the line between illusion and magic? I think it's a good point you bring. I have got Craig writing. No, maybe Craig's not writing stuff, but Prajna's back with us now. Prajna, are you back? Do you want to? You're kind of. You're a bit of a philosopher kind of guy. I've met Prajna and. I'm sure I've seen him hovering around cross-legged on a little orange cushion in the ether before now. It's like
doesn't make you
away from the truth.
it doesn't make you a philosopher though. Sit cross-legged.
Come a bit closer to your microphone for us, Prajna, if you can. You're a bit quiet there, mate.
I said that doesn't make you a philosopher.
Oh, hang on a minute, Joel. Just a minute, Prajna, mate. Excuse me, man. You're very quiet. Prajna. And Joel, I don't know if you're typing on a keyboard with your microphone unmuted, but remember we can hear all that, and that's pretty loud this side, Joel. So if you're going to type, man, well, you're not talking, just mute your microphone, and then we might be able to hear Prajna. So go on. Yeah, okay, Joel. Just getting used to it, man, that's all. Whatever you do, don't go into a 15-minute rant and don't unmute your microphone. When you're ready to rant, please make sure your microphone is unmuted, as I have done many times before. So go on, Prajna, try again.
I was just going to point out what Osho said about philosophers. He said a philosopher...
No, mute your microphone for us, Joel. We're getting feedback off you, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Prajna, take 6.
A philosopher is like a blind man in a dark room looking for a black cat who isn't there. I don't think he held that much with philosophy. I had a big discussion with someone today about beliefs as well. That's the other thing, is that there's an awful lot of pressure on people to believe something. And in fact, beliefs are protected and religion is protected and all that kind of thing. They love you to have beliefs, because I believe actually means I don't know. And when people go to war over I don't knows, they take sides over I don't knows and all this kind of stuff. This is why they want to protect beliefs, and they want to think that they're protecting a freedom for you. Actually, the only freedom they're protecting is for you to be able to be misguided, because a belief is always misguided. Even if it ends up to be true, it's only pot luck that it does. What you really want to do is to know. You don't want to believe anything at all.
I've been thinking about this, and the things that we hear are the things that we read on the internet can change our beliefs. The more we find out about things, maybe 1 minute we believe one thing, and then we gather more information and we change. We believe something else. But the people that believe in religion, I don't really want to bash religion, but once you believe in something like that, that seems to be the end of you. You don't search for any more answers. You don't look for anything else. And it just completely locks you out.
Do you know the etymology of the word religion? It comes from a Latin word, legare. That's the root of the word religion. And legare is the same word that we get words like ligament and ligature from. It means to bind. And rather interestingly, if you look into the etymology of heresy and heretic, you'll find that comes from a Greek word, heresis. And heresis means choice. Now, isn't that an interesting contrast?
I've got a little quit there, guys. Just a little one. I want you to carry on with your stuff. But remember, Joel's there as well, lads, and he's had to mute because he's not got his mic right. But Billy... Yeah, nice one, Joel. Just wanted to make sure you don't be afraid of jumping in, bro.
Sorry.
The belief comes from the English word bailiff, belief, to wish for. So if you're wishing for something, then you have not got it. So if someone comes up to you and says, I am a believer that blah, 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 then they've actually told you straight away they have no knowledge of it. None at all. Now,
exactly.
We were having a conversation ourselves today about belief and whether or not, in truth, you could actually, if you were telling yourselves lies, is it possible to tell yourselves lies? Well, I would say yes, it is possible to tell yourselves lies, most definitely. But then you would actually also need to have a belief. You would need to. If you were lying to yourself, then you would have to believe in something else.
Exactly.
Yeah. So many people are actually trapped with belief, and that's all they've got. Often we can throw rocks at those beliefs, but at least they have got belief. If we can turn that belief from some external force back to them as individuals, I think we may have cracked it.
Well, they have to discover that there's no need for beliefs. This is the thing: is people are always talking about, well. Prashna, that's all. Just remember, if they're living in a lie, then all they've got is belief. They haven't got truth. They haven't got it. Now they were saying about mind control and Tavistock and stuff. I've never had truth. I'm living in a lie. I've not got an issue admitting that on live radio. I know I'm living in a lie, and I know what's all this is built on deceit, mistrust, and it's all built on it. I haven't got an issue saying that. Yeah. You were saying before about belief being a wish, a hope.
And in Old English, yeah, that's what it means in Old English.
Another thing to point out, what is a hope after all? A hope is just a fear in disguise, isn't it? You turn it around back to front so that you don't see that it's actually a fear, and you say, oh, well, I hope I'll be on your radio next week then, Bob, But actually, there's no need for that hope unless you have a fear that it may not happen. Then you need a hope. Can you see the way we disguise a fear as a hope, and then we don't think we've got any fear, we think we just have a hope, and it's the same with this belief thing.
And yeah, and I get that, man. I can follow you then. Right after hope, you've got your belief, then you've got your hope, then you're on your hands and knees praying, or you're on your knees begging. One of the two. Sure. You seem to end up on your knees, don't you, one way or another?
Well, this is the thing, you know, most prayer is about begging, isn't it? Look at most prayers that people have. Prayers surely should be about gratitude.
Well, and the magician, the master magician will tell you, for them, at the point of casting energy, it's not, they don't beg for it, they don't ask for it, they demand it. They demand it. Bang! So, yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. We did get joined by Dom. Go on, Praja.
No, if Dom's batting, Dom, come here.
No, belief is fear, isn't it?
Don't fail.
Yeah, belief is fear, because without fear, you wouldn't need belief. I mean, I don't believe in anything, really, but I live quite a happy life. I'm not in fear of anything particular. I might be in fear of the council tax dropping on the doormat or the gas bill, but I'm not actually in fear of anything that it can affect me, you know.
I'm not in fear of any of those things. That's all part of the adventure, really, you know. And I've only recently been beaten up by a whole bunch of fucking cops and court bailiffs and shit, and locked in a cell for half a day in handcuffs. Yeah? I ain't really afraid. It's all part of the adventure. It's part of the adventure I try to discourage them from, but, you know, it's all part of the adventure.
Yeah, I think if you are afraid, then you do need a belief, because you can't live in fear all your lives. It sends you mad.
You know, people argue for fear as well. They say, oh, well, you have to be afraid. You have to be afraid of fire, otherwise you get burned, you know. But that just shows that they haven't really thought about it. You don't need to be afraid of fire at all. If you know fire, then why would you fear it? You know how it works. You know when you're likely to get burnt by it and when you're not likely to get burnt by it. You can be utterly fearless around fire if you know it. And it's the same with all the rest, all this big, super, mega conspiracy shit that's all happening around there. You don't need to be afraid of it. Just get to know it. Once you know it, you know that you don't need to be afraid of any of it.
Yep, well said.
Yeah, I've got to agree. It's about
face it and deal with it head on.
Yeah, embrace it. Embrace it. Again, though, just.
This is my challenge in life. Come on, then.
Yeah, just. I'm kind of trying to be like a dead compassionate here for them people, trying to see for those people that haven't actually got it. It's really easy for us to sit on this side of the proverbial fence. Not saying there are sides, of course. Don't pull on that.
Getting to, sure.
It's all right for us to sit there, and the ones of us that have faced our fears, you know, we've faced our fears. You know, we've confronted our demons personally. And look, you might not have done that internally. You might have had to do that externally. We hear a lot about victims and a lot of atrocities happening on Earth. Personally, I'd like that to be an internal struggle than an external struggle. Just my ideology says the internal struggle is free from victim, where the external struggle appears to create a victim.
Yeah,
it always starts off as an internal struggle in any case. And if we don't deal with the internal struggle, then it becomes a physical struggle, and our bodies get sick. And if we ignore that then we start to push it outwards into the world around us. So you're absolutely 100% right, and that is the place to face it, is internally, because that's where it all comes from.
Well, I had an internal struggle, and that was joining one of Bob's radio shows live. But now I've done it, I have no fear.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that is absolutely very true. Actually, yeah, you bang on there, Phil. Absolutely bang on. And it never occurred to me, man. So yeah, spot on. Fair play to you. Welcome to the Dark City crew.
Welcome.
Well, I've been speaking my rubbish on the internet since about 1997 now, and maybe it's time we up the game a bit with a little bit of radio chat. Even if it is about belief and magicians. Just going back to the magicians, though, and things like that. I tend to think that anything that you see on TV is an illusion, because TV itself is an illusion. And, you know, is it David Blaine makes the 747s disappear? They don't disappear, do they? It's just camera trickery.
Yeah, I once saw a wagon driven straight over a man, and, you know, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
That was Penn Teller. They did a show that showed exactly how they did that with all the.
Yeah, I've done a few of their tricks, Prajna, the Panatella. The one in the service station with the fork in the cream carton. It looks like
yes.
poking yourself in the eye, and it does work. It terrifies people. I don't suggest it. And we have been joined by Scott.
Because I never used to get seasick. So what I used to do is walk around with a sick bag with some fruit salad in it, just picking bits out of it and eating.
Yeah, the rugby club vegetable soup. Yeah, it was the vegetable soup trick. You could always get a table when everybody started eating your sick, which was, of course, vegetable soup. Just an illusion, of course, but very effective, very effective. Scott's just joined us. Scott was on at the end of Don's show before. Good stuff for Scott. Who are you there? I did actually mention for people like yourself, I hope Simon and yourself were listening. I don't know if you caught it. On the website, there is a meditation by a guy called John Armitage. Meditations work for some people. Other people, it has to be a life experience. Other people do it through psychotropic agents. I mean, whatever works for you. I've found in my life that I ended up having to do it without the psychotropic agents to believe I could actually do it without the psychotropic agents, if you see what I mean. I convinced myself it was the drugs that was doing it, and it wasn't as real as what I thought. So, good stuff there, Scott. It's on the website. I suggest that anyone that has had experiences, let's call them, which the comprehension can't grasp hold of, especially what Simon was saying about contracts that he'd made as a child, well, in a state of fear. That alarmed me greatly, I must admit. A contract made in fear is not a contract at all. And the fact that he'd made agreements, I think, not to put words in his mouth, I don't mean to do that. It was my alarm. Obviously, Simon has not got an issue with that, and I don't want to project that anywhere. But it did alarm me. We can make agreements mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically. We do make these agreements. We make vows. We say we're never going to do things again, and I swear I will blah, 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 whatever it may be. We do use our voice as a verbal affirmation. If there is such thing as energy, of course, and there is such thing as projection, and there is such things as these, you know, things beyond our visible light field, we will call it, because there is things, it's beyond our physical light field, and all this is kind of real, then we have to start to view everything completely differently. We can't use our preconceived ideas of the past to then try and navigate this so-called future. In my mind, it would be preposterous. I've been asked on a number of occasions, you know, what do I think's going to happen? You know, can we do this? And will that be possible? And I don't know. I really don't know. Like I say, I can accept that fully. We can't start to build this so-called brave new future and change the system that many of us can see in the so-called truth movement, and I emphasise the so-called truth movement, we may be able to see it. Yeah, but can they? Who are the they, what we perceive from this position now of truth, where we can say, oh, well, you know, this is how it should be done. This is how we must do it. We must do it. I get suspicious.
We were going to have a war against them. The sooner we get rid of them, the better. That's the whole point, you see. But the problem is that the only way to get rid of them is to realise that them are actually us. When they're us, it's not a problem. Then they can't be our problem. Then it's our problem. And we always fix our problems, do we not?
Not necessarily, no. I think you'll find, again, playing a little bit of devil's advocate, like I say, I don't think there are sides. I can see myself, who I once was, in many things that you say. It's almost like I'm looking back from where I am sat here now with my buddies of the Darkcity crew on Darkcity Radio at www. No, so I won't do that. But, you know, sat here right now, looking back through the passage of time, and many of these people you speak of is me. That's me.
You were once then? Is this what you're saying?
Yes, I was once the people you speak of. And maybe aspects of me still may be. I mean, you know, if we are all one. Like I say, I'm not sitting on any fence here, me. I said earlier, you know, it's all right sitting on this side of the fence. But I'm not creating a polarity. For me, there is no sides. There is no sides to take. To me, that's a ludicrous perception.
You see, I don't go with a lot of these things that are talked about, although I don't believe in life after death as such. I know some people believe that, you know, we're an energy force and we never die. But I had a strange thing happen to me. When I was 17, I crashed a motorbike, and it was a pretty bad accident. And I ended up hitting a car and a house and a wall and God knows what. And I can remember it all so clearly. And at one point, I was lay on the ground, and it wasn't real. It was real, but it wasn't. And I think I was dead, to be honest. And the only reason I think I was dead is because what seemed like hours later, some people took my helmet off and said, he's dead. And I heard him say he's dead. And at that point, I wasn't anymore, if you like. But while I was dead, if that's what you want to call it, I could see everything that was happening. And it just couldn't be possible, you know. I mean, I was either unconscious or dead, and how would I be able to see everything that was happening? And I actually believe I saw myself while I was lay there, which this totally goes against everything I believe. I don't believe in life after death, not at all, even though I've experienced something that I can't explain as anything other than life after death. I don't know. It's a strange thing.
In any accident, strange things happen in any case. You know, I got run over by a car one time. I was crossing a pedestrian crossing, and a car slowed down, and I thought, great, he's going to stop. So I walked down in front of him, and then another car went straight into the back of that one. And time, first of all, slows down. You can hear every little scrunch of metal and every little bit of glass break and everything like that. And then I went flying through the air, and I thought, oh, wow, this is really cool. I'm flying, you know. And everything was still going really, really slow until the moment I hit the ground and everything kind of sped up again. So very strange things happen.
Well, that's exactly how I'd explain it, really. When from hitting the car, I remember it is like time slowed down. I remember flying over the handlebars. Well, it didn't seem like flying at the time. It seemed like levitating because I was moving that slowly. I remember looking at the speedo for some reason. I could see what speed I was doing, and I was doing about 45 mile an hour as I flew off the bike through the air. Yeah, very strange things happen when you have an accident. But like I say, I don't actually believe in life after death, although I think I've experienced being alive while I was dead, which...
But one thing you can be sure of, anything that always has been so, always will be so. So all you need to do is look for the constant. See what has always been so. And every memory that you have ever, there's been one constant running through it. And then you don't need to be concerned about what happens after your death, because you know that at least it will contain that one constant.
Right, I've experienced a motorcycle accident. I was about 18. Yeah, RD125, trying to keep up with your mates, going on to Birch Services. Used to go down there on a Friday night and a Saturday night after everything had shut, get a coffee, give the security grief. You know, before it was popular. I was going in there, all the lads started to break down. I thought, what's up with them? And they changed the road from a right-hand sweeping to a very tight left-hand sweeping bend to get in. And I completely misjudged it, hit their big curb, and I was stood 200 yards behind the motorcycle. I couldn't see the motorcycle. I could see myself on the ground in front of me. A lad called, well, I won't give his name. His first name was Carl. And I'm terrible with names, but I remember his first, middle, and last name for some reason. He was lying on the floor. I saw him look over to my body in front of me, and he said something. From where I was stood, I couldn't hear it. I thought, I can't hear him. I saw the motorcycle come down and hit me, the handlebar hit me clean in my chest. We'd come off it, the bike had gone airborne and then come down on top of me, and it hit me clean in the chest. At that point, I saw myself reach up and push the bike to one side, and I exhaled, and then I remembered myself. Carl saying to me, "Are you all right?" The motorcycle hitting my body. I remember it then. I couldn't hear what he'd said, but I remembered what he'd said. And I looked at him and I went, "Yeah, are you?" And the bike hit me. Like I say, I didn't feel the bike hit me. I didn't hear what he was saying to me. What many people have said, that I'd had an out-of-body experience brought on through the trauma of it. I have also studied Shaolin techniques, and believe you me, you can't actually experience death because it's an illusion. The body doesn't transcend from one place to another, it stays right here. There are thousands of so-called generations amongst us that we're unable to see in the visible light spectrum we occupy. It led me on a path of self-discovery and adventure. The trauma, so-called to many, led me into what many would say my own enlightenment, or towards my own self-mastery.
Well, when I say I saw myself in the accident, most people would think I was hovering above and I saw my body. But that's not what I saw. It was as though I was still lay there on the floor, and I saw myself stood looking at me, which is a strange thing. But
that's like exactly the opposite way to what it happened to me. Yeah. I was actually stood on the road looking. You see, I know now about removing the consciousness from the physical body. Are you with me? For martial arts. But your physical body can move a lot faster without thought. A lot faster. It can put itself into a position quicker than anyone can think. far quicker. So to remove the Shaolin masters, and not just Shaolin, many of them, it's just the technique I used was based in the original Shaolin, which some argue that goes back further. I don't want to get into that argument. But they removed that. They use a vessel. They actually have a vessel. In the cases that we're, I think, speaking of, we became the vessel. There was no other vessel. We are the vessel, you see. That's why you return back to your vessel, which all the Shaolin masters do as well. It's exactly the same. They move the consciousness from the physical, many of them into water, and you'll see when they're doing this stuff with guys breaking bars over their head and this superhuman feats. There's men stood on either side of them, normally with a jar, a large jar, and they are the trusted, what would you call them, disciples or his closest pupils that actually protect the consciousness while it's outside the physical. So some mad stuff going out there in the world, and I know Prajna's travelled around a little bit, and it gives you that, wow, hang on a minute, we've only been given a small piece of it in the West. There's only a small part of it here, what we've been brought up with, how we've been educated, we've been tuned and honed. That's why I kind of warmed to what Scott was saying right at the end of Dom's show about mind control. I think he's hitting the nail almost bang on the head. Of course there's mind control. Of course it's been used against us. My thing I keep questioning is, because I'm sure you'd agree, I've played with this a while. My thing is, who's controlling who exactly?
Do we control? Is it our thoughts and our wishes that control the world? I don't know. What's even stranger about the motorbike accident is that 3 years previous, not 500 yards from where I killed myself, I was riding a push bike, and deja vu. I was riding down a hill. It was a 90-degree bend right, another 90-degree bend right. I was probably doing about 40 mile an hour on a push bike. I had a deja vu experience where about 100 yards before I actually fell off, I went through the whole episode, going round the corner, falling off, scraping my knee on the ground. It was as though I'd had the accident, and then all of a sudden I was on the bike. I was 100 yards from where I'd just seen myself fall off, and I got to the corner and I fell off exactly as I'd just seen myself do it. And
can I jump in there?
This is within 500 yards of the place where I actually think I died. Yeah, you can jump in, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Paul, but what you're saying there, it correlates big time with an experience I had. I mean, I've had 2 experiences where I've seen things that haven't happened yet, and then they play out exactly as I'd seen them. One time was when I was on my way back from work, heading towards Bletchley. To the right-hand side, there's a village called Little Horwood, and as I'm driving along, I go past the junction for Little Horwood, and I look to my right, and there, sat at the junction, is a 4x4 Burgundy Frontera. And it caught my eye. We used to have one exactly the same as it. And I'm thinking, well, that might be my old car. So I drive past it. And as I drove past it, I then approached the roundabout before Little Horwood. And I think, hang on a minute, I've just seen the Burgundy 4x4 trying to pull out onto the junction. So I've carried on going. And when I actually reached Little Horwood, there it is. There's the Burgundy 4x4 waiting to pull out at the junction, exactly as I'd seen beforehand. Another experience where I was tiling a roof. I'd felt it and bit the day before, and we had to go there and put these tiles on. And it was slates. So as you know, it's a nightmare of a job. Start from the bottom and work your way all the way up to the top. And as I'm getting up the ladder to go on the roof, we haven't even put a tile down yet. I see myself walking down off of a finished roof and standing on a tile in the middle of the roof, and look down, the tile breaks up beneath me, and it's like, oh shit. Next thing I know, I'm stood on the ladder waiting to get up onto an untiled roof. Get up there, we tile the roof from top to bottom, from bottom to top, up to the top right corner, and I turn around to walk off towards the ladder to the bottom left corner, exactly as I'd seen it before. I even got on the roof, my foot goes through that tile. And I mean, if anyone who's done any roofing, they knows you'd know that means a strip of the roof. You have to strip it down to the broken tile. A brand new roof, I can't be putting any straps in or anything. But these things happen. I mean, what I'm trying to say is I'm not saying that these experiences do not happen. I'm saying that we've got to think our way around them. We can't just look at what is presenting to us, because at the end of the day, we've been indoctrinated with a mindset. We're obviously going to jump to the most logical explanation that we possibly can, or the one that we've been fed through our lives. All I'm trying to say is let's not do that. You know what I mean? Let's think around it. Let's see what else there is, because there are answers to these things. Let's just keep on looking and trying to find the answer, instead of turning around and saying, I know the truth and the truth is this. I mean, that's...
Are we seeing reality, though, when this happens? Or are we creating reality? I mean, is this whole radio show, the fact that I'm in this room talking to Scott and Bob and Prajna, is that something I've created in my mind, or is that real? I mean, nobody knows.
So when you woke up in the morning, you created it all from memory. Now, when you're in the deepest part of sleep, a state of sleep called turiya in Sanskrit, when you're in that very deep state of sleep, then there is no reality. It doesn't exist. And then as you wake up, you recreate it again from memory. It's quite clever, really, isn't it?
Well, they do say you don't dream in colour, but when I'm in that deep sleep and I'm dreaming, it is in colour and it's very real. I have feelings of what is happening to me, and I mean, is it real? Is it as real as what's happening now? I'm not sure.
Well, again, the rishis talk about there being 4 states of consciousness, and they say that the state that we call awake is actually the deepest level of unconsciousness, and and dreaming we're a little bit more universally conscious, and then in the next level of sleep, incidentally, that's also called prajna, which is deep sleep. Then that's where there aren't any of the distractions being created and so on.
Well, what I do notice, Prajna, is that, you know, if you have a dream that seems really real and something bad happens in the dream, when you wake up, you're in a state of panic, really. And
yeah, you feel bad.
Yeah, you feel bad for a certain amount of time, maybe an hour after you've been awake. You'll totally forget about what you've been thinking about when you're asleep. But dreams do control your body, and it's a strange thing.
I mean, yeah, I'm just going to come at this from a slightly different angle in this exploration of realities and this, what we experience here and now, being just one possible reality. That's what psychonautism is all about, isn't it? Exploring other possible realities.
Yeah, well, you see, this is where I have the big problem with all this, because I listen to Bob going on about the 6 different dimensions, and I listen to everybody else talking about lizards and aliens.
Hang on, that's 12. Carry on.
All right, 12. But I listen to all this, and I don't believe it, because you did start off with the word belief. I don't believe it. But when I actually analyse my own, you know, what's gone on in my own life and what happens to me, then it's as though I don't believe it because I don't want to believe it. But my brain says, well, it's all true, you know. It's as though I've got some kind of mental block, and maybe I don't want to believe it.
No, I don't think you can believe it, Theo. I don't think you can. You live to wish for. You can't wish for an out-of-body experience, for example, because you've already
that's
had
true.
one.
It just happened.
Yeah, you've had one. You see, you've had one, so you can wish for belief for. Often the verbal affirmation we're making is the illusion we create. Now, whether that is a co-created illusion, like you say, you know, like do our collective minds create the reality where we live in? I think, yeah, that's a real possibility. You know,
have you ever thought? Oh, sorry. Have you ever
one guy who
thought
spent
in
a
your dreams?
great deal of time studying all this is a guy called Amit
just
Swami.
start again, Prajna, because you and Fatal spoke at the same time.
Oh, right.
That's good. That's good. I want everybody to
one guy who studied this stuff absolutely in depth for years is a scientist, a quantum physicist, a guy called Amit Goswami, and you can find his videos on the internet, and he talks about how this conscious co-creation and consciousness and so on works, and this has been the big black hole for science for years and years, is all about consciousness. That, you know, it's been a little assumed thing floating in the background, but nobody's looked into it because it's the most mysterious thing once you start to do so. And you were talking before about your thoughts and what your thoughts are and what your beliefs are and so on, and funnily enough, Osho talked about thoughts, and he said everybody always thinks that their thoughts are their own, but thoughts are just like radio waves. If I think a thought, it goes out in all directions, out into space, and it may pass through your head and so on. You say, I've just had an idea. But how do you even know it's your idea? I mean, it could come from anywhere. Do you sit there before a thought comes along thinking, I think I'll just have a thought now? How does it work? This is the problem, is that people just skim over all this, but it's very deep, profound, important stuff. When you find out how you think, then you may start to become in control of your own thoughts, instead of advertising or government or your parents or teachers or policemen or anyone else being in control of your thoughts. Once you see how it is, thoughts come about, where they arise from and so on, then you're separate from those thoughts. You can judge those thoughts exactly the same way that you can judge someone when they're talking to you, and you can say, do you know that they're not quite right about that? And do you know, when you look at them and they're not your thoughts, then it doesn't matter to you whether they seem to be like stupid thoughts or whatever. You can stand apart and just look critically and say, that's a bit silly. That's obviously not me. Do you understand a little bit?
What you're saying there, to me, it resonates big time, Taj. I mean, what I do, I ask my children to do it as well, is just sit there, just pick a quiet moment. If you've got an ego at all, don't even attempt to do this around anyone else. Go and sit in a room, be nice and quiet, nice and dark, let nothing else interfere. Then just try and literally switch your mind off. Try to think of nothing. And while you're thinking of nothing, there will be that voice there in the background, chattering away. And you think to yourself, well, hang on a minute now. If I'm trying to clear my mind, who's this? Who is this chatting in my head? Who's this chatting in my head? Now, when you can realise you have that voice in your head, when you can literally see or hear the voice, and you're able to just look at it, you're able to sort of
then there's a distance, isn't there? There's a distance between that voice that chatters away and the thing that's observing and saying, look, there's a voice chattering away in my head. Whose voice is that? That's very strange.
Just a quick one, lads. Just a quick one. I love this y'all chat. It's brilliant stuff I'd like to add, but just a quick one. If it's not about possession, whose brain?
Well, just so. But there is this sense of I-ness, is there not? You know, you can deny everything else, but there is this sense of beingness,
of presence.
Do you mind?
When you're not off thinking about stuff, and particularly when you sit there being absolutely still, which means whenever you find yourself trying anything, you just drop it until you're not doing anything at all except paying attention.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I've been talking to myself for as long as I can remember. I iron out some of the biggest problems by talking to myself. People say you're mad, but no, I actually talk to myself. I have a voice in my head that contradicts what I say, and I have to reason with it and come with the most logical solution. But
That's all very good. That's brilliant. I mean, the fact that you can have a conversation with yourself and smash out a problem is absolutely brilliant. What I'm trying to say is when you shut your mind off and there's that chatter there, even though that you're trying to sort of like concentrate on no fault, the fact that you've got that chatter there suggests that there's something that you are not in charge of. It's something that's chattering away that hasn't got a Scooby-Doo what it's going on about. So what our job is to identify that voice, not the one that helps us, not the one that says, here, mind out for him, you know, the little one that tips us off here and there, is identify the voice that muddies the water. And then you can, I used to see it as walking
Some
around.
people have many voices. Many voices. We call them schizophrenics generally. Yeah, but lots of people have lots of different voices, and some are their mum's voice, and some are their teacher's voice.
Yeah.
Kinds of voices.
Prajna, just one moment. I'd just like you to know all my voices are on the outside, and the only voice that's on the inside is the one I can hear speaking right now. Sitting on.
Yeah, just so, hang on, I'm going to give Gail a because she's sneaking off to catch a bus.
I'm actually dead serious about that. I once had many voices, as Prajna is saying. Fatal, yes, I am quite with you on that. No worries at all. Much better to have a conversation than a conflict. Totally agree with you, but they are divided aspects of ourselves. Twin souls. There's a hell of a lot we don't know about. I was going to say that we've actually brought up in the topic many of the things which are actually on the list of they were broken into tracks of those 7 meditations, or the 7 tracks of the meditation I mentioned earlier. I don't really do coincidences anymore.
Well, going back to the deep dream state that you're on about. And I was going to ask you, Bob, have you ever actually experienced flying in a dream? And the reason I ask you is because I used to have a recurring dream that I don't have anymore. And in the dream, I would have been about 12, 13-year-old. And I used to run down a hill that I used to live on in the dream. And I used to take off about halfway down the hill. Now, this I'm not joking, you know. I'd run down the hill, and halfway down the hill, my feet wouldn't be touching the floor anymore. I'd get a feeling in my stomach as though I'd just took off, and I'd be flying. It'd only last for maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds till I got to the bottom of the hill, and then I don't remember anymore. I don't remember any more of that. But this deep dream state, is this a place that we can experience anything? Or I've never really grasped dreams.
I did shout yes on going to sleep. Between the awakening and sleeping state when I was younger, and I have done it as well. Since about, time's a bit weird when you talk about these things because you get recall memory, and memory is only a selection of thoughts.
Flashbacks.
Basically, that's what they are, flashbacks of the past, and they can elude you in time. So it's difficult to say how long ago, but for quite some considerable time, I've been realising how incredibly easy it is to get out of the body, and how difficult it is to get in the body. Getting out's dead easy. Anybody can get out. Everyone can project externally. They can, and you hear it. I love you. It's an impossibility to love somebody else. It's completely impossible. Without projecting externally. Of course, then they say, I don't project. Well, hang on a minute. Have you got loved ones? Tell me about your loved ones. And then straight away, they're on about their house, their home, their children, their wife, their car, their job, their
My
well,
God.
look, no, in all fairness, without them and there, we wouldn't have the so-called us and them that was mentioned earlier, you know. We are the reflections of them, or at least they are our creators in that sense. They have created the situation which has allowed us, if you like. I don't like the us and them. I'm using it as an analogy, of course. But it allows this kind of thought pattern. There you go. There's a nice way of saying it. To actually come forth and begin to manifest. A brand new ideology of thinking, a completely changing our social structure, going on around us all the time. I think the interactions we can have need to be one that is at least funny.
Do you know,
one of ridicule. Go on,
it
Brad.
wasn't all that long ago, and actually the world was full of quite a lot of kindness. I know there's been a whole lot of shit and so on, but actually I remember a great many things as a kid, you know, random acts of kindness from strangers, and you know, that's an art that people have been persuaded out of. One thing Gail was telling us about earlier was that she was on a bus and there was a drunken guy on there, and you know, she dealt with these drunken guys, but that involved the bus stopping and them getting thrown off the bus and all that kind of thing. And everybody else who should be witnessing this at the very least, if not, you know, being involved in helping out, they all have their heads turned to the windows, you know,
even as she's
looking
being
away.
threatened.
Yeah. So we need to get back to these random acts of kindness and just putting the world to rights around us wherever we go.
Being aware.
I think comedy, you see. I'm going on the comedy angle here.
Well,
the ladies, I've just been asked, where are the girls? We're in the second hour and the girls haven't turned up. So I just wanted to point that out, that we are aware now that there is a girl there, of course, but they are now...
Gail's just on her way home now, and when she gets back, she reckons she'll log in and see what's happening. So.
Oh, well, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. I know Susan does have problems getting...
There's a girl. My girl.
Not that we claim our ownership of each other at all.
Much.
Yeah, so I know Susan, who kind of gets, who is our girl in the Dark City, talking girl. No, one of the many of our crew. She does have some problems connecting with the time and stuff and getting out of bed because she's many, many miles away. So they may join us later. They have done normally. So anyway, just wanted to make sure that if you are out there listening, you do want to join in. At the moment, it's me. So just add Bob's Backyard to your Skype and let us know. Just ring us up and we'll add you to the call. It's that easy to do. Bob's Backyard. If you are, I don't think there's only still one, but if not, it'll be the UK one. I think there's only one Bob's Backyard. So yeah, it's pretty easy to do. And you can join in. So talking about joining in, commonly known as somebody is with us. Craig, are you there, Craig? Because we've not heard anything from you so far.
Yeah.
Anything?
Because he hasn't got a microphone.
Oh, did I miss something? Right, that's a bit weird. But never mind. He's quite happy to sit there and listen. But if you didn't know, you can actually log on at www.darkcity.bobsbackyard.co.uk. I'll give you that again. That's www.darkcity.bobsbackyard.co.uk. And once you get there, if you hit the live show tab at the top, you can also enter our chat room. So it does actually say right at the top of the player, click to enter chat room. But we've had reports that a lot of people can't find it.
Yeah,
We're going
ban
to
of
button
lines.
there. There is no button. I mean, it's just one of the most obvious things in the world. There's no button. But anyway, I'm doing my best to explain it to you who may be listening that haven't found the chat yet. And there is quite a few people in there. I know there's still quite a few people in that chat room. So that's really cool stuff. Right then, who hasn't said it?
23 at the moment
Wow.
in chat. I think there were 26 earlier.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? It's good. You know, the chat,
Is
the
that
chat-
more?
Hello.
the chat crew tends to
But most of the chat is Dave, as usual.
Dave. I don't know if Dave's still at war. Is Dave still at war? Are you
Yeah,
still at
because
war,
he's
Dave?
run out of cigarettes.
He's a great character. He's a great character, isn't he? What a character is Dave. Spoken to him before on the Darkcity.
He's a Highland Council taxpayer, and he's at war with the council.
Yeah, well, and he knows he can ring in and get on the show if he likes. He's always happy. We encourage anybody, like I say, to jump in and join in. Little bit of a weird topic, I must admit. It's triggered me a few times. Inner body, outer body experience, belief. Can you actually live a lie? Well, it looks like, yeah, you probably can, and many people perhaps do live a lie. I know I lived a lie for many years. I knew all along, that's the truth, and that ignoring that little voice inside, I think that's how you put it, false, ignoring that voice inside myself made me very angry. It made me very angry indeed. And once I realised, once I accepted, and I think a lot of it, for me, was acceptance. I had to accept things. To know that, and I think it was Simon who said before, it was as if something put its hands on me and just said, you're all right. You're all right. And immediately, I thought of other people. Immediately. And that voice went, don't know about them. Didn't really say anything, actually. He didn't say anything. He just told me I was all right. And when I asked of others. And at first I thought, wow, what about them? I was it made me heavy in my heart. Made me heavy in my heart. Until then I realised what a gift. What a gift. Took me a while to see it. But what a beautiful gift. It's up to me. It's up to me. Just the same as it is for everyone else. It's up to them. Each and every one of us. All right, I know for a lot of people, they've got, I feel like I can hear Bill Hicks in my head now. A lot of people have got a lot invested in it. A hell of a lot invested in this ride. That's how Bill explained it. They used to kill people like us. That's what they used to do. And we come along and we talk, different ideologies, different backgrounds, different social upbringings, different creeds, colours, religions. We can come together and talk in something as simple as internet radio chat. We don't need a war. We don't need wars. We don't need all that stuff they've been feeding us for so long. Yeah. It's up to us. So to me, the thing I dreaded most in my life, to wake up and find out that I was being deceived by myself for the majority of my life. It was a biggie. And then to come out of the other side of that, like I say, there are no real signs, but to come out of the other side of that and see that the thing I least wanted, the thing that I feared the most, my greatest pitfall, my greatest triumph. The only thing I could have ever asked for, really. Let everyone choose for themselves. Just let everyone choose for themselves. Now, it sounds really simple. To me, in my little world, in my little reality, I've cracked it. Wow. That's it. And then I look outward and I see why. I see why that voice went quiet in my head. I know why my heart fell. I know why I felt sad. Because most have never been given a choice. Most have never, ever experienced a choice. And that's the only thing, really, through everything, all the bumps and knocks and the crashes, that's what's kept me going. You know, that's like my power, that's like my energy, that's my strength. Or weakness. You know? So yeah, it's not an hard thing. It's not an hard thing. It really isn't. Well, you've got to get there. You've got to get there. We live in a world which is just, I mean, it's jammed packed from the moment you're forced into demand. You know, even by the ones who do care about you, the ones who are the closest to you, you know, they clothe you and they feed you and they look after you, and even they've done it. I mean, I don't judge them, of course. They didn't know any better. We do. Has it made any difference? So yeah, I suppose we can ponder these things. We can ponder them and we can chat about them. Does it really get us anywhere? Well, to me, well, of course it gets us somewhere. We've all gathered together. People are listening to us. They're listening to us. And they're out there, and some of them will be like, it's just all bollocks. And others will go, hang on a minute. Just 1 minute. Scott said about sitting in a room and listening. Clear your mind and listen. They call that consulting the oracle. And they call it a long time before the film The Matrix, I'll tell you. That come after the oracle.
I think people can realise reality while making spicy pork meatballs.
I've got to agree with you.
Do you know how hard it was to get that spicy pork meatballs into your show there? I've been waiting.
I know. I know, man, but if I let you get it in the first hour, then we might not keep your presents for the second hour, man. I've got to admit it was manipulation. No, it was fear. No, if we're all being honest on the Truth Radio.
You're scared of meatballs, aren't you?
No, man, I was scared of anybody mentioning about the video that I've just put up with Dom, really. Not how to go shopping.
But I've watched the video with Dom. I think it was taken at Ashton Indoor Market there. Well, not at the indoor market, at the shopping centre.
Yeah.
I've been in there, yeah. I don't think I'd like to be seen in public with him. I've never met him. He's probably a really nice guy. And I don't know how it started. We only get what happened after the police got involved.
Well, that's Dom's edit.
My edit.
Oh, that's Dom's edit. Yeah. I was hoping to get the PCO, PCSO. See,
I'll put the full version up on my channel, both parts.
No, to be honest, right, the full version in brief, so we don't have to upload loads of rubbish, is we went into the arcade place, we took Dom round Ashton Centre, and basically just taking him to a few places which have been pointed out to me are very strange. Just put it like that, when you notice things. Anyway, Dom had noticed this coat of arms, and he said, is that anywhere else? And we said, oh yeah, well, go on, we'll show you this and this, and this coat of arms. And as we walked into, we've been all over the place around Ashton, looking at where this coat of arms and its origins are and stuff. Black Knight, council offices, War Memorial, and so forth. This same coat of arms appearing. And they're right there in the arcade. Well, Don walks into the arcade with his camera blazing. Now, in all fairness, right, we looked at the signs before we went in. It doesn't mention anything about you can't film and it's got a whole array. You can't walk your dog, you can't skateboard, you can't eat ice cream if you're accompanied by somebody over 64 years of age. People with calipers need to actually use automated lifting equipment which hasn't been provided. You wouldn't believe it. There's a list of everything. They've covered pretty much everything, but no mention of cameras. So yeah, I'm getting set up as well here. You see, I didn't really get it. That it's just that ability. I mean, in all fairness, I've walked through there with my camera. I'm just saying everything, and looking at the Facebook. Facebook and what's the other thing? YouTube comments. Other people have been through there as well, and it's never really been such an issue. But on this particular day, we were approached by three. Two directly in front, one coming from behind, and then a fourth appeared. And to be honest, one of the security guards, he was a really nice guy, real tall lad. We had a chat with him, and he saw the funny side of it. It's like, whoa, just calm down. You're overreacting here. It's just a man with a video camera. Asked him to put his camera down. Dom immediately stopped filming when asked. There was no, and it just got more and more ridiculous. It really did. So yeah, I had a hand in the editing of that video with Dom here, and we tried to keep it as funny and as humorous as possible. Yeah, this authority BS, that's all over the place. This fake authority, we've got to highlight it, but without alienating the PCSOs. Most of these people, not all of them, I do accept, I've come across a few, right? They shouldn't be in service. They shouldn't be in service because they're not serving anyone except their own bank account. But many of these people, nurses and doctors and policemen and ambulance drivers and PCSOs and street wardens, they actually join these things because they want to serve the community. That's why they're doing it. They're not evil entities trying to take over Earth. Well, they might be, some of them. But you know what I'm saying. These are good people. So my angle on it is more, I suppose, the love-a-thon. I'd love to have, hug your PCSO day, break down these barriers, but using comedy, using laughter, and lo and behold, a hug or two. It works wonders.
I'm famous for free hugs.
Yeah,
that.
Carly's done that.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I kind of suspected you might be. You're a bit quiet though. Come a bit closer to that microphone so we can all hear you.
We want to set up a How Is My Policing website so they can have badges going with their number on saying How's My Policing, like they have on the back of big trucks and things.
I know it has been done, but the lines were shut down within the first 24 hours because they were crammed solid with people ringing up and saying what a wonderful place to... Yeah, they were just sick of all the praise they were getting. Yeah.
You say you took Dom round Ashton. I hope you took him to that stall on the indoor market that sells them oven bottom muffins with all in the middle. That's Ashton all over, that, isn't it? Best muffins in the world.
I did actually say about promoting the actual market there in Ashton. It is one of the things which has stood the test of time, hasn't it? If you are, as you do know, I know we get people from all over the place.
Even rebuilt it after the fire.
Yeah, well, the actual market ground has been there, no one knows, basically, where people first gathered in that point to trade. Where people come to interact and change the goods. And if you have a look how geometry is set up in that area. Now, a lot of the stuff happened, or a lot of the manipulation of these buildings and energies happened in the Victorian period. A lot of the churches, what many people see, they wouldn't have looked like that. The churches used to be open with lots of light flooding into them. It was the Victorians that did this, almost demonic and the gargoyles on the outside and the stained glass windows, and it become quite dark inside a church.
I do like gargoyles and flying buttresses.
Oh, so do I, man. They're a wonderful thing. But when you actually realise that they're used in other cultures to ward off evil, then they're actually projecting evil from that building.
It's a bit critical, that really, isn't it? Evil warding off evil.
Yeah, well, in a sense, they are. Well, flip it round. Flip it right round. The open mouth of a gargoyle is to draw in that. You see, you never have an open mouth gargoyle inside a home. It's always it's always going out with the mouth open. So yeah, when you actually travel around a little bit and you find out a few of these things, you're like, hang on a minute. Why did they build all the churches in a straight line? Why did they put all the police stations and the courts and why did they lined them all up in a straight? They were kind of had over by something called the Lay Hunter's Guide.
Graves as well.
Yeah, graveyards, definitely, and the way they align the graves up. Yeah, it's quite true. And they were kind of led away by the Lay Hunter's Guide that said all the energetical points were in a line, the ley lines, you see. And if you could find 3 of these points, you could draw a line between them, and that would give you the energy line on the Earth. You see, it went from point A, it went through point B, and lo, there's a point C, and they're all in a straight line. That must be an energy line. Where, of course, that's preposterous. I mean, the lines of Earth on the energy are more like the veins in your body. They weave and...
Yeah, it looks more like a motorway network than a load of parallel lines.
Well, if you look at the lines on many of the towns around Manchester, and the giveaway towns are the ones that ending in lay, or line, okay, lay. And just have a look around. We've got Alderley, Edge. We've got now without seeing a map, they always drop out of my consciousness. Mosley. We've got. Did I mention Alderley? I didn't. I can already. Burnley. Burnley.
Can we have Rochdale?
No. It's Burnley. There's a place. Just from it. There's loads of them, man. When you actually have a look round Manchester, and what's weird is. They're all on the outside of the ring that's formed by the M60. It's a bit odd, isn't it? And the M6, it's almost as if they've moved from the line into the circle. And in ancient Celtic stuff, right, they would ring evil with tar. With tar. That's what they burnt it. They ring the.
Well, there's something in the Jewish religion where they have a ring of wire around a community, and in this country they can use telephone wires or anything, but there is something within that. I can't remember the words called for it, but they have a wire around the community. Makes you wonder what they're receiving with it.
Bit of static with you there, man. It's gone now. Now that circle and that ring, you see, anybody who's looked at Masonic stuff, which I'm not big on, I mean, my Masonic knowledge becomes from the Black Knight here in Ashton, you see. That's how I found out about it all. But yeah, they have the ring and the square, don't they, and stuff. They square the ring. The oldest temples they found on Earth, or the oldest houses or gathering places, whatever they were then, they're all built in the round as well. And this moving into the square seems to have changed things. It was a representation of the womb. That's what these things are constructed. The gargantuan on the island of Gozo on the coast of Malta. This is it's a womb. It really is. It's built in that shape. And they worship worshipped. I don't know if worship's even the right word. I suppose it's what we would say, or they honoured, I suppose, the feminine, which is seen in many cultures to be the destroyer. And the masculine to be the creator. I kind of see that. I kind of get that, but you've got to see that as energetical frequencies rather than Mr. and Mrs., him and her. You know, that all of us, in a sense, where Fatal, he's a bloke. He's a bit like me. He's a bloke on the outside. He can think about this stuff, but he's still a bloke on the outside. It's like the one he talks to inside is his female side. And he goes through it, and eventually the conversation, the male keeps coming up with the solution, no, female side. And eventually he comes up with a workable solution. And that's taught. That is not, I mean, okay, it's not spoke of a lot in Western ideologies, but the balance between the divisions, or you know, in this case, masculine and feminine, to bring those together in harmony. And what better than spicy pork balls? What better than spicy pork balls, man? I mean, that's it. Anything you love to do and share, you know, anything you love to do and share, that's how you begin to manifest it. And I mean, and that's different for everyone. You know, we can't all go on a guru trip to India, and we can't all afford to go and spend a weekend in the woods. Some of us can't even afford the bus fare to Manchester, you know.
I think people might be wondering what spicy pork balls is all about. I'll just explain that.
Yes.
I made some spicy pork balls in a nice tomatoey sauce the other day, but I recorded it on the video and stuck it on YouTube. It's a 15.5-minute video of me making spicy pork balls, and Bob watched it earlier. I just thought I'd have to explain.
Let's try it somewhere on the net as well.
Yeah, but that's not as funny to say as spicy pork balls.
Well, that's true.
I don't think Canera's probably made.
Yeah, go on, chat amongst yourselves now. You're all really good at it. You've all made acquaintances.
I'm just going into the kitchen to warm up leftovers because
You're
we
doing
haven't
the
had
munchies
any
now.
dinner.
Well, I made that many spicy pork balls, I had to freeze some. Ready meals.
That's easy in this weather. Oh, this weather, you know, it's all from Harp. Did I tell you that last show or something? It was announced on the BBC. Well, they didn't actually say that Harp's out there creating all this snow and shit. They said there's a sudden stratospheric heating.
Have you ever been to the Harp website?
Yeah.
It's like something that a 3-year-old would make, and considering the amount of money that's been spent on it, I'm a bit disappointed.
Yeah, Army and Air Force. It's incredible. You'd think it'd be as slick as anything. They got all these.
It's something that were designed 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, Tesla apparently designed it a hell of a long time before that.
No, I don't mean Harp. I mean the website. It was so basic.
The website.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they can control the weather. There was a story the other day, actually, about New Zealand during the war.
Bombs.
Yeah, did you see it?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm a Kiwi, so I kind of look out for that kind of thing from time to time. I got told some very mysterious things before I left New Zealand, and actually, when I left the army, or maybe we went back for a trip while I was in the army, but in any case, my wife at the time, her uncle was an air vice marshal, and interestingly, he was also a Kiwi. And he told me that there'd been some strange things going on in New Zealand, and I should really keep my eye out and report back to him. It's all rather interesting, really.
Just quickly, guys, don't want to break up your chat at all. If you have added me tonight, not you, Scott, got you worked out, mate, but there's 2 other people added me. I don't know if you wanted to come into the conversation or not, but I've added you and then lost you on my list. So if you just PM me and you want to come in, I'll bring you into the chat straight away. Just in case I have missed a couple there. I think I have, to be honest. My apologies.
Anyway,
send me a PM, I'll get you in.
the HARP, I actually think that Monsanto and the HARP project are closely linked, because Monsanto seem to be taking the ability for people to grow their own food away. You know, they'll supply a country with seed that grows a brilliant crop one year, and then the next year they'll give them a seed, and the weather changes, and then they've got a disastrous crop. And plus, you know, you can't collect your own seed from Monsanto.
It's all
crops.
part of the big scheme to control all of our food and to destroy vast majority of the population.
Well, as is the reduction in CO2, because I'm sure you'll know that plants grow much better when there's an increased level of CO2 to what we have today. In fact, in the past, the CO2 levels in the atmosphere at the moment are the lowest levels that they've ever been, and we've got massive crop failures around the country. I mean, Bob does his hydroponics and everything, and I've been involved in that, and I've been growing crops. But for the last 6 or 7 years, my strawberries have been acting really weird, and I've been getting really bad crops. They've been flowering early. Yeah, go on.
Poisoning these things.
Yeah, I think the water's poison, to be honest. I think the water that you get out the tap is full of fluoride, and from what I can gather, fluoride locks up the ability to get rid of calcium, which basically in a plant, it stops it from growing. And in a human being, I presume it gives you things like gallstones and other...
Gives you osteoporosis. The problem is that it attracts the calcium out, because calcium is needed to deal with it. It's very acidic. In fact, an awful lot of stuff that people eat is very acidic, and so it tends to suck calcium out of their bones, because that's the handiest source of calcium. So then they get brittle bones and so on. And I imagine something similar happens with plants as well, in that they supply calcium, and so they must use it in their own life cycle.
Well, they do use it, but what happens if there's fluoride in the water supply? The plant's receptors that take in NP and K stop working, and the plant basically goes into like a dormant state where it's alive, but it's not growing and it's not dying. It just locks up its receptors for taking in food, and it's not good, to say the least.
Yeah, we had two lovely little pot plants that were doing beautifully at Camp Autolift, out beside the A41. But then most of our water there was deionized, and it's probably different. Well, it's bound to be different water than Liverpool water. And when they came back to Liverpool, one of them has just given up the ghost entirely, and the other one's not looking delighted with life. So it's probably the water.
Well, try catching some rainwater and feed them on that, and you'll see a definite improvement.
Sure.
Yeah, high nitrate. Really simple high nitrate. If you've got a water catchment, or water butts for collection of rainwater, then a piece of sackcloth with a brick inside it, with manure, fresh manure, to drop it into the bottom of your rainwater butt.
To get the nitrogen in it.
Yeah. And it really will. You'll be amazed. Simple things, and they really are. And
then one of your brilliant pumps.
Oh, it's not mine. It's not mine. That's not mine.
This is something I wanted to ask about, the bell siphon.
Right, okay.
I presume that's a system. I've looked at the pictures and everything, and it doesn't use a pump or anything, does it? So it draws up the...
No, you need to be able to move the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. There's no moving parts. inside the
No, I've
bell siphon.
realised that, and I've looked at it. And I can understand when it gets full, how it empties and everything like that. I was wondering how the water came up in the first place.
Right, well, in what I'm using an electric pump.
You're using a pump then?
Yeah. No, you have to use some way of lifting the water. It doesn't have to be an electric pump. You could use. We were discussing this. You see what Prajna was referring to.
You see, I looked at it and I thought, well, you could use capillary action to lift the water.
Yeah, but the whole idea of the bell siphon, the way that it slowly rises up in water and then suddenly empties and
It's like
flushes
a
out.
toilet flush.
It is very similar to the way that a toilet flush is, yes. And a lot of it.
We used to make something like this as a kid. We'd get a jar with a big open neck on it, and then a bottle full of. What we do? We ran a hose into it and put a bottle in there, and then it would pump out water for ages and ages.
Yeah. The way it's up to you really how you raise your water, you lift your water. There's many ways of lifting water, as you know, Fatal and
Archimedes is the most efficient. The screw.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know about that. I would even now outdoing Archimedes is the pulsar pump, which if you have got running water near you, a stream or a river.
That's the same as the pulse jet engine in aeroplanes.
Yeah, it's similar how it works.
It's a ramjet.
It works like a ramjet. Yes, it does. The air gets trapped and it pulses a small bead of water. Depending on the size of the system, that small bead of water can be it can be used to power wash rocks, and it has been wash clothes. It's got a lot of uses. But within a circulative system, a recirculating system, then you're going to use something else. You could possibly use that to power something else, but you still need to get a lift of water. Either that be done by manpower, literally a man turning a pump and raising it up to a higher level, and then allowing that water to slowly go into the growing area where you've got the bell siphon. Look, that area isn't just for growing food in. Although the ebb and flow technique in hydroponics is tried and tested, it's not just to do that. It's also to create an environment for the bacteria that's required to turn the ammonias into nitrite and then nitrate.
Yeah,
two bacteria.
Is the humidity being at the root level.
What's actually, well, it does both. That's it, you see. By using an ebb and flow technique, you don't have to use a bell siphon. And the reason why the bell siphons become the most popular, not all of them, I might add, don't look at all the designs. If they haven't got a circular cutter, basically, if you can't move the outer shroud of these systems around an inner shroud, then eventually they will fail. They always do. It's only a matter of time. Now, the beauty of these systems is the longer they run, the more efficient they get. So there's a design flaw there. Like I say, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but the design that I'm using that does not happen. You can rotate it. It cuts the roots around the bell siphon, and they stop interfering, because that's what happens. You get root growth going in there. Now, on a small scale, that's not too much of a problem, but on a large scale,
because you end up with a solid drain full of root going into the nutrient tank. And that's what happens. I bet people are wondering, how many different subjects can they talk about tonight?
Well, there are many. And the thing about it is that hopefully the idea of the Dark City show is there's people out there now we had Simon and Scott who've come. I've never met these people this evening that I've come in. Prajna, I mean, me and Prajna, we're like mates, and we've met once, and we've spoken, you know. Somebody asked me if me and Susan were married the other day. She's in Australia. I'm in England. They actually thought we were a couple. And I mean, this is the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, man. We take these things, we come together, we talk, and from that, new hosts, new presenters, you know, new producers. It's not all about talk. Go on, Kelly.
I said new avenues of exploration.
That's right.
Butternut squash.
Yeah, that's right. It is. We don't know where we're going. Let's just accept that. We don't know. Are we prepared to put in a good, solid foundation in what we do, knowing we're going to make some mistakes in this brand new future? Yeah. Let's put a solid. I'd say yeah, because we are going to stumble. We are going to fall. We're a fledgling race. We really are. And I mean, just going back to Dom's show, because I like to pull it all in together if I can. You know, there's a guy there talking, Simon, and if you look at what's being said about the guy, he's nuts. He's barking complete. But when you heard the man, I heard him first time. And then bear in mind, this is an impression that others are trying to give of Simon. You know, that's what I heard the guy speak. I'm like, well, that's pretty plausible. I heard Scott.
You know, Simon's sitting there in the chat. And you can actually.
Oh, is he in now? He's in now. No, well, he can do.
Oh,
but anyway, I didn't. Well, Simon wants to. He knows he's welcome to. But you know, that's what other people, the impression that's being given. And when I heard Simon, I got my own impression. I got an impression of Simon. I got an impression of Scott when Scott spoken. You see, I'm not. To me, it's like, wow. Well, hang on a minute. Let's just say he's looking at that from his view, and he's right. He's right. We are a fledgling race, and there is a hell of a lot more out there than any of us have ever considered. You know? Why not? Why not?
We learn every day some aspect that we neglected to pay attention to before. And we've come to a point in that all these discoveries that we've all been having over the past few years, you come to the point where you know absolutely nothing, and you just got to get on with it.
Yeah, I love the thing we're at least part of it, whatever it is. You know, whatever big or smaller part you think you might be, you're still part of it, whatever it may be. You know?
And
I think this is what a lot of it is about, getting people of different ideologies together and getting them to have a chat. That, hopefully, and I don't know, like I say, I've got a bit of hope here, that it does actually trigger other people out there. That one day that we're going to have to, well, hang on, the server can only handle, I think, 122 people calling in at any one time. You know, we can only have 300 people on the live stream. We're not even live yet. Well, we're live, of course, and people are listening to this now live. You know, it will be recorded, and others will listen later. So, come on now. We don't want to listen to you eat your food as well.
Just scraping the
sounds
box.
like she's got a big bowl of ice cream and she's just finished it.
Just getting something from Joel here. I'm going to open this up and have a look what it is.
Yeah, it's randomly off my mate on Skype. He wrote it himself, and it had a lot to do with the flowers and growing food and stuff.
Flowers and growing food? What was that, Joe? You don't know what to do with flowers and growing food?
Oh, I thought that's what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, it is to a degree. Aquaponics, hydroponics techniques of the bell cycle. It's incorporating fish farming and production of fruit and vegetables without soil, And when you put the two together, you get aquaculture. Excuse me, you don't. Aquaculture is fish farming. You get aquaponics, which is a cross between hydroponics and fish farming, and that gives you no waste, none at all. No byproducts. No. Now it's not as efficient. Bit of static from you there, false. It's not actually as efficient as hydroponics, using the petrochemical industry to make the nutrients. But I suspect this is only because we haven't done the extensive research in different species of fish and different conditions. And also the actual production of fish in this manner, rather than it being farmed in the conventional way, stops the pollution with medicine, basically, pharmaceutical products which are given to the fish to keep them alive in such cramped conditions. So yeah, the both sides of that, although the great advancements, fish farming, and also hydroponics, brilliant steps forward, they have come with a bit of a cost, as has heavy nitrate fertilizers. Using heavy nitrate fertilizers in North America and Canada have now got into the water table and have started off spirulina blooming in the rivers, and that can annihilate if it's not managed.
One of the problems with hydroponics in particular is that the food is based on NPK. Obviously, they're the three things that you should have in the food. But the things that are missing are the trace elements. And I think the trace elements do a lot more than people give them credit for, And a lot of the problems that we're getting now are because they're not putting the trace elements in the food. They really play an important part, and they're missed out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, balanced diet. Again, balanced diets. It is. You were mentioning about the control of locally produced stuff, seeds, Monsanto, and various other different organisations that are pretty much trying to control these things to a finite. I mean, you'd be crazy not to be a little bit concerned about this. But you'd be even more crazier not to be actually planting something in the ground and having a go. Well, learning how to refortify the soil and how to make this planet green again, really.
All these countries are dying because they can't create enough food, supposedly. If you look at companies like Tesco's that buy tomatoes and peppers from companies that have massive greenhouses that cover hectares of land. These people growing these foods, I mean, it's all in rock wool using hydroponics, drip feed mainly. And these places have got CO2 emission systems. In all these greenhouses where they're growing all this food, they're actually pumping in CO2. They're trying to get us in the outside world to reduce CO2, and it's just it's a complete big scam.
There is.
You can't grow food in your garden anymore, can you, Bob? Because
no, you can. No, you can. You're not wrong. You're not wrong in what you're saying,
down, isn't it? Your yield.
Don't get me started on AdBlue.
Not with 8 minutes to go. Not on this one, but this is the one we could do again. But look. There's a big
1450
carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide for a start. That's a big kind of thing they've got us legged up on. And you're 100% right. If you want to accelerate your crops, then you bring the CO2 particles from 250, maybe normal background level, up to 1,200, 1,600 particles per million. It will, and it does. It gives you accelerated growth. There's no doubt about it. They use the burning of propane in heaters in greenhouses to produce this for years. They've known about it, And so, yeah, it's no big secret. But all this green carbon warming footprint, let's tax the air, is exactly that. Let's fool us into paying air tax. I'm actually convinced there is going to be a chip.
Did you know, Bob, that a few years ago the government made you responsible for the air? It was either 50 feet or 50 metres above your own house. Did you know that?
Yeah, above your house. It's actually your property. They don't actually have to license you. And I'm aware of this because I put aerials on the roof of my house. But just let me get my little pun in, if I may, about the chip, the human chip. I know it was mentioned earlier about it being put in your hand, but I'm convinced this is only going to be used on males. And they're going to put the chip right in the end of your penis. No, I'm serious. I can verify this, you see, because the last thing they're going to be able to put on us, the last tax on mankind, is the erection tax. If that little chip actually gets above your belly button, you're going to have to pay for it. That's the track. So eventually, you see, they will have us paying for absolutely everything, whether you're on your own, whether you're breathing or you're not. And that is the case. One way or another, right? Either physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. I mean, if you're paying financially at the moment, don't worry too much. That's your least of your worries. Yeah, one way or another, we have allowed, and I stress that, we have allowed other people to do it for us. We've allowed them to do it for us on multiple levels for far too long. If we can come together, and I said this on Facebook actually, which Dom's getting me addicted to, teaching me really, I don't really get it. But I actually said it on Facebook today, you know, that, you know, for those people who do truly believe in unity, you know, who truly believe that we can make changes through unity. I don't mean that we have to fragmentate ourselves into little groups. Far from it. Each one of us making our little difference each moment of our day, doing the best we can. And, you know, if you are out there and you're not able to do that, you know, then forgive yourself. It's really cool. Don't forgive the government, right? Don't forgive your next door neighbour. Don't forgive your wife or your kids, right? Just forgive yourself, you know, because it is up to you. It really is up to you at the end of the day. And if you have had problems with androgynous beings contracting with you, alien infestations of your consciousness, you think that you might have had any, you know, you might actually have been programmed with a core fear matrix, that your certain energy centres within inside your physical or non-physical body of, what have I just done here? Transfer call. Hang on a minute, I did that wrong. I'll pull you back in. I nearly made a big mistake right at the end.
Kicked him out.
No, he fell out. I was just about to bring him back in, but I made the... I nearly transferred... in fact, he's trying to ring me, you see. There we go, he's in now. So yeah, or you need to clear any of these things out. Do yourself a favour and have a look at that meditation I mentioned on that website. We haven't just put this up there. This is another one of those coincidences. Not very popular, I know, but maybe a synchronicity. So, only 3 minutes left of the show, folks. So, I'm doing a lot of ums. You can tell when I'm running out of things to say.
It's been nice talking on your show for 2 hours, Bob, considering I was scared of coming on here in the first place. Well, not scared, but yeah, it's been quite interesting, actually. I'd be happy to do it again if other people have found it interesting.
I found it brilliant, man, to be honest. Your company tonight on the Darkcity. I mean, this is what it's about. It's not actually about me. It's not my show. Really, I'm just... I don't know, like the anchorman, I suppose. I don't know what you call it. I'm the producer. That's it. Ideally, I sit back and go, shut up, you two, for a minute. Joel, you've hardly said anything. Do you want to get a minute? You see, that's what I do. You know, that's really what it's about. That's the idea of it. It's letting you lot speak, and not so much in me. Go on, Joel.
Yeah, I've enjoyed listening. Thank you.
Yeah, and I didn't get a chance to read this, man. I've just got it. This. I've
Well, you were
opened it.
saying about synchronicity, and the guy just like randomly sent it to me, and he said pass it on to people. And you know, you were talking about all that, and yeah, like you said, synchronicity.
Yeah, well, I mean, have a look at the bobsbackyard.co.uk /A, well, 3 of them, 3 capital A's. I've been working with trying to get a little bit of land back for people for a while. So, yeah, I've just looked at this Dear Gardener. Well, that's got to be applying to me somewhere along the lines.
Bob Robin Hood.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah. Scott, do you want to throw something in the last minute of the show?
Yeah, why not? Synchronicities you were talking about, this is something that I've experienced a lot of. This is one of the reasons that I find it hard. The mind control aspect, how does the synchronicities work amongst that? I mean, the synchronicities seem universal of sorts. I mean, I've experienced them where they're virtually linking on one after the other after the other. I mean, for example, I had to build a set of steps for a client that was the boss of a big company, and I had never put steps in like this size before, so I strung a line up, and it was tegular curbs, which are 135 as a risers, and then I was filling in with deco blocks, which are 110s. Anyway, I've strung the line up, put all the curbs in, and then I've come to fill up the steps with the blocks, and I've put the blocks in. I've 1, 2, exactly. I didn't have to cut a single block, and that worked all the way up the steps. I mean, little things like that are constantly happening in my work. I could run off about 5 or 6 different examples for you, but I mean, synchronicities, coincidence. Is it just is it a sign of something else? I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but that's the thing that makes me. That's the one thing that makes me say, this might not be mind control. There might be something else to this. Who knows? Who knows? I mean,
Scott, mate, I want to hear all of them, man, but we're running out of time. We're right there on the. You come again. Just get on again, Scott. You know how to do it. You know, come again. We've had a great time. Prajna, thank you very much. Fatal Scott, Simon from earlier.
When we on again?
Thanks for the voice, anyway. Thank you.
When we on again? Saturday, I do believe. I've got to look. We've got to work it out. We're on after Dom's show and Don Hamish's show. We're trying to fill up that stripper schedule. But listen, it's your radio. You get a story, something you want to say. Contact us. We can get you on the air. That's what it's about. Free radio, free people. That's what it's about. Anyway, we're done. Thank you. And good night for now. What's the schedule? Yeah.